everyone, it's Zen Leo from Zen Leo's Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, I like making videos of spirituality, numerology. I like to make tarot pick a card readings to help you connect with your intuition, your inner voice, your consciousness, and to help you find more awareness in your life. If you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified as soon as my videos go live. Today's reading will be for the singles out there that keep on asking themselves, why am I single? I think that's a common question that a lot of people ask, not really knowing the reasons why, and if they may be doing something to actually stop relationships from forming, or if they're kind of putting out an energy that kind of pushes people away. So we're going to get into that today. So these are the four piles here. We have pile number 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. I will have timestamps linked below that you can click on to skip forward to your selected pile. I will now give you 30 seconds to meditate on the cards. Close your eyes and let your intuition guide you to the correct pile. So if you chose pile 1, this is your reading. You have the Knight of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, the first house, the second house, have faith in your dreams. The energy is gaining momentum. Conclusions are within reach. Leadership, change, synchronicity, healer, poet, and shapeshifter. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is you have the Knight of Cups. So cups always represent emotion. So you have 2 cups. So the Knights always they almost like come in quickly, and I kind of have a feeling like maybe you start in a relationship, and the reason why you don't it doesn't go past like that beginning stage is because you act maybe too quickly on your emotions, and you're too focused on, this happy ending that you're seeing, and maybe you almost scare people off because you are so in touch with your emotions. You know what you want, and you see qualities in people, and it's almost like you just go all in at once, and you just like see the light. You kind of play out this like fairy tale story for yourself, and for the person involved, little do they know that they're being like, you're already planning like how many kids you're gonna have with them, what your kids are gonna look like, and like maybe a dog that you're gonna get. And like it's okay to have those dreams and have faith in those dreams, but you also have to really be careful with who you are actually getting to know. And like a lot of the time you can have like you can kind of put people up on a pedestal, and you think, oh, they're so great, they're so great. And um, you think, okay, they like have all of the things on paper that I want, and say they have a good job, or they have um, you know, they have the looks that you're hoping for, just whatever it, you almost like kind of put them in this little box of like your little fairy tale, because it's like you have everything else figured out and you just have like one piece missing. And in order to actually be in a relationship, you need to be a whole person just by yourself, and not be constantly looking for someone to fill that space in you. Um, and here, this is like kind of like she has control of her emotions, but she's also so empowered, and she's not going to let just anyone into her circle. Like, this is a very small circle here, and she's like, she has like all of her emotions in check here. She's grounded in her emotions. I feel like this is the picture that I'm getting here. Like, she's kind of like, her waist down is in water, but like her mind isn't underwater. Her hands aren't underwater. Her heart's not underwater, just her lower half. And so it just, for me, this seems like she's really grounded in her emotions, and she's not just gonna let anyone in. So maybe you need to like get your emotions in check a little bit more, and maybe hold back and just like really value the person that you are and what you have to bring to the table, and not so much like getting too excited when it comes to you know, a new love interest. Like, with here you have the second house, and it says material world, possessions, finance, talent, values. So that's kind of playing into the idea of like having this like checklist for people. And it's like, you like, their their finances are in check. Maybe they have like certain talents that you're looking for. Maybe their wardrobe is what you're looking for, luxuries, like credit score, security. So you're looking for that security in someone else rather than being like secure in yourself first. So I feel like when you are able to kind of get this in balance, when you're kind of like taking more leadership in your life, and like maybe putting yourself first a little bit more, and really valuing yourself rather than like putting too much value on other people. And like maybe you're a healer and you're really sensitive to people's energies, so you are able to pick up on, you know, certain things that you really appreciate. You just vibe well with people, and so you get really excited, and then the other person involved maybe isn't as like emotionally there as you, and so it can kind of scare people a lot, because like it might come off like you're, you know, trying to be like too pushy or controlling in the situation. And you just need to let like you'll see the signs, and like when it's ready to advance, it will. And just like have faith that it will advance, and not get don't get too ahead of yourself in these relationships. Like it says here, you have poet and shapeshifter as well. And the poet says the light attribute is expresses soul insight and symbolic language. So yeah, that kind of ties in with being like a healer too. Like you like you might be getting the vibes from someone like, okay, like they're a really good person. They're like you play this like poem in your mind of like how things are going to play out, but you're not really giving the other person like a say in this. You're just like, okay, like this is my little storybook, little fairy tale that you're just going to like fit into, and we're just gonna live happily ever after. But maybe they have another like happily ever after in their mind that you haven't even looked at, because you haven't given them a chance to kind of explain where they're coming from or what dreams they have. Because it says, yeah, have faith in your dreams, the energy is gaining momentum, conclusions are in reach. So like it's okay to have like certain things that you want in a partner. Like I think it's a healthy thing, but you also have to think like, okay, like what do I have to bring to the table? Like what is it about me that makes me special, that like I shouldn't just let anyone and everyone have a date with me? Like you have to live up to you have to be able to bring like a full piece to the puzzle and not be a broken piece. You also have a shapeshifter. So the light attributes is a skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see potential in everything. So yeah, that really just ties in with the healer and poet. And just kind of what I've been saying along the lines here is like you see so much potential. You see the potential in people, and like maybe it's not potential that you need to go on. You need to like get to know these people and like find out like who they really are, and not just kind of putting your emotions in it because you see the potential of what it could be. Like you are so focused on the end result that you're not taking time to appreciate every little step in between. And like the funnest part, that's why they call it the honeymoon stage, when you're just getting to know each other. Like it's fun to be like go on little dates and like let them have freedom to kind of let them express themselves naturally, and not like sitting down and basically having an interrogation with someone just because they look and dress the way that you like. Maybe you just need to take some time to really get to know and like get past like the image that that you see potential in, and actually get to know them for who they are, and if they are worthy of being in a relationship with you. And kind of staying grounded in that, and staying grounded in yourself and your emotions, and like yeah so yeah, you also have change here too. So yeah, it really just, maybe you just need to change your perspective a bit, and be a little bit more cautious when it comes to going on dates, and asking those questions. Like you just need to change your approach when it comes to those things. Like it's always good to have the intellectual conversations, but it's like you need to learn how to play, and need to learn how to let things come naturally, and not just jump into it because you see potential. So that is all that I'm getting from you, pile number 1. I hope this helps. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. I make videos every week. So if you picked pile number 2, this reading is for you. First you have Temperance, Queen of Swords, the Star, the Hierophant, Sun, North Node. Nothing will come of this situation. A time for healing, working through your fears, teach and learning, rebirth, happy ending, rescuer, the knight, and networker. So this is what I'm getting from pile number 2. So first you have the Hierophant, which is about kind of enlightenment, awakening. It can also be about like an ego-based leadership, a need to connect to spirit, outdated systems or ways of thinking. And then you have the Queen of Swords and the Star. So the Queen of Swords, she's all about knowledge, and she like holds her knowledge and kind of looks out. And then the Star, this is kind of like making a wish on something, and you're kind of holding on to this wish. So for me, what I'm saying is maybe you were in a past relationship that was really like hurtful for you, because I'm seeing this work through the fears and time for healing, and nothing can come of this situation. So I feel like maybe you were in like a bad relationship before, and this is you kind of feeling like the mixture of these two kind of makes you feel like you have a better knowledge of who people really are. And this, I feel like you're almost like on guard, and you're taking what you learned from your last relationship, and you're kind of like applying that to new relationships. So maybe you come off as being a bit guarded, and I feel like this is like the inner you. Like you're really wanting a relationship, but you're not really showing that on the outside. You're kind of you're like, you might have taken some good things from the past relationship, but you also maybe got a bit jaded from the past relationship, and so like inside you're feeling like this and like wanting to manifest and have this beautiful bright relationship, but what you're putting off is like being very guarded and not being very open to a relationship. And then Sun, you have Sun and North Node. So the Sun is about the essence, energy, self-awareness, life force, spirit, creativity, honor, masculinity. So masculinity is kind of like standing out to me just based on the fact that I see this kind of here as like here's a cup in here with water. I don't know if you can see that, but it's almost like it's like behind bars. So you're not really wanting to feel your emotions, and you're really just using like your mind rather than like feeling with your heart. It's almost like you're not wanting to put yourself out there because you don't want to be hurt again. But in order to attract a significant other, you kind of have to put yourself out there and be vulnerable with your emotions. Like, I'm not saying you have to just like spill your emotions to everyone, but you definitely have to be a little bit more open when it comes to maybe people approaching you, and just maybe call on like your divine feminine to really help you and soften your heart when it comes to love and not everyone is out to get you. So you also have North Node, so soul school, learning curve, fulfillment, purpose, maturing experience, fruition, North Star, process, development, practice, path, beacon, blossoming, becoming, integrity, journey. So from there, it's this is kind of tying in with what I said about maybe holding on to your past experiences, and it is time for healing. Maybe you need to forgive whoever you were in a relationship prior in order to move forward, or work through your fears. Maybe you have a fear of being vulnerable and putting yourself out there because you have been hurt before. But in order to really lean into what you want, you have to let that be known, and you have to kind of put that out in the atmosphere of, like, you know, being that vulnerable person, and like attracting that to you. And yeah, nothing will come of this situation. Just kind of makes me feel like, because you have the knowledge, you almost can see like the flags that are what you need to watch out for when it comes to maybe you were dating like a narcissist before, and so you know the signs of what it is to be a narcissist. So this is what I'm getting, like, it's not going to happen again because you know what to look for in order to protect yourself. And rebirth is right on top of time for healing. So usually when we go through a rebirth, it's really like a transformation of like who we are, and like developing into like our most like beautiful selves, because we have gone through hardships and we've learned from our experiences, but we haven't let it kind of harden us. We are still, the rebirth is like fresh and newness, and they say in numerology, 1 + 6 is 7. So like your ability to focus on like your spiritual side and your intuition, and that's really going to help you in your next relationships, because you are going to see the signs. And teaching and learning, that also kind of ties into taking what you learned from your past relationship, but being able to move past that and think of it as like a learning situation for yourself to bring in the person that you were meant to be with, and not just painting everyone with that same brush, but knowing that maybe that's what you needed to go through at the time in order to see who you really are meant to be with, because you have happy ending here. So there is like a really happy ending out there for you. And I just want to point out that 9 + 3 is 12, which also breaks down to 3, and 5 + 7 is 12, which also breaks down to 3. So that threes is all about communication. So that kind of ties in with the work through your fears. I think that the communication and the emotion that you need to maybe start expressing those emotions, and work on your communication, because you also have the blue here, and that also has to do with like the throat chakra. So maybe you need to work on expressing yourself more. Maybe just, even if it's just like expressing who you are as a person, and like getting back into that like joyous, happy, and like beautiful state. Because here he's like, maybe you were like this, and like you were so like joyful before, and this person really did a number on you, and and you're like, I'm never gonna be like that again. But it's a good thing to speak of the joy and the happiness and like the love, because I'm sure at one point like there was love in the situation and you did enjoy yourself possibly. So it's not a bad thing to show this emotional side of you off. Like it's very endearing, and it really helps people connect with you more when you're able to kind of show that side of you off. Then you have the rescuer archetype. The light attribute of that provides strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. So that kind of ties in to you being this person, like, I'm going to rescue myself from anyone that's trying to hurt me. And then the shadow attribute says, assumes the rescue will reciprocate, keeps the rescued one needy. I don't really see that. I kind of see it as like see it as like everyone needs rescuing, you think, and like maybe you were drawn to the person before because you felt like you could fix them. Maybe you like have the need to like fix people and like save people from their problems, when really they like you really can't change anyone. You can't fix anyone yourself. Like it has to be ultimately up to them whether they want to change or not. So maybe you were the rescuer to that person and they took advantage of that. And then you have Knight. The light attributes are loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. And the shadow attributes is allegiance to destructive ruler or principle, romantic delusions. So yeah, maybe you had in the past you had that person. You thought that because you had rescued them, they were going to be very loyal to you and kind of like treat you in a way that you were they were going to honor and loyal you forever because you were able to help them through a dark time. And then networker, the light attributes enhances unity through the sharing of information. So I feel like, yeah, that's like just another reminder to be vulnerable and like to express yourself, and like, because it's one thing to kind of like hold what you want and like wish, like send a wish on a star, but it's another to actually like embody that and say like, I'm gonna get this because like I deserve good things. I'm emotionally available and like ready to accept a new relationship, and I'm not gonna push that away. So that is what I'm getting for you, pile number 2. I hope that this helped, and I hope it gave you a little bit more insight to maybe why it is that you are single. If you like this reading, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help more than you know. And subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I make new videos. So if you picked pile number 3, this reading is for you. First you have the Knight of Pentacles, Pentacles, 5 of Wands, 11th house, Uranus. Adjustments are required. Your hard work is paying off. A new romantic cycle begins. Nice. Love partnership. Wow. Maybe you won't be single for too long. New beginnings. Perseverance. Artist. Samaritan. And storyteller. Okay, so what I'm getting from here, I feel like you're almost on like the brink of a new relationship, because the Knight of Pentacles like represents like putting in hard work, and then the King of Pentacles is like having an abundance of what you're putting in the hard work for. I feel like you've been kind of struggling in the past to maybe find out who you really are, and I just see this like this being almost like an internal battle, or maybe you were taking too many other opinions from other people and just like kind of looking at too many other people for input in your life and like what you need to do. So maybe you're on this stage here, but what I'm getting is like you are putting forth hard work, and this the 11th house here represents friendship, group activity, community, humanity, hope, tribe, festivals, discovery, common goals, startups, and then you have your rebellion. It's so funny because I pick these cards and I pick them very at random, and I don't look at them when I pick them. So it's funny that you got the rebellion and then also Uranus, because that's all about kind of like a free way of thinking. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and they're all about like a different way of thinking, like taking things in a new perspective. So yeah, maybe you are looking at things from a different perspective, and you're kind of breaking free of like the norm. So maybe you are like involving yourself in like new activities, and you're putting yourself out there for meeting someone new, because you're trying new things, you're putting yourself out there, you are developing like new friend groups here, and it says like adjustments are required, your hard work is paying off, and new romantic cycles begin. So I feel like maybe there still is a little bit of adjusting. Maybe you need to really value who you are as a person as well. But I feel like you are really putting in the work and like really evolving as a person. Like you have like new romantic cycles begin and love partnership. You also have perseverance, which does tie into like the hard work paying off, and the Knight of Pentacles. So like I'm really getting a positive, like maybe you will have someone by the time Valentine's Day rolls around. But honestly, I really think it's just right around the corner for you, because you have been putting in the work. You've had perseverance, and you're really hopeful for this this new beginning here. It's really exciting. So like for me, I'm also getting like maybe you had, I'm seeing the scale here, and maybe at times you've had like problems kind of juggling your home life and your work life. So maybe you were too focused on like work, or and you didn't really have time for a relationship. But now you're trying to balance those scales, and you are looking outside yourself and really seeking a partner in life, and not just to be alone all the time. And you are like kind of finding that balance. And um, maybe you are already past this. You've made the adjustments. Your hard work is paying off. Like you've really looked inward and like done some soul work, and like taken things from a new perspective, and really really did some like real insightful awakening, and like you have a lot more awareness now. And then you have the artist, the light attribute, expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. And then the shadow attributes, using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as a starving artist to explicit pity. So maybe you're an artist or musician, and you maybe spent too much time on that aspect of your life and not as much on your relationship. And yeah, it's all about balance. It's all about like having your alone time, but also having time to share with others, and like let others take the center stage as well. And like it doesn't always have to be just about what you want. Um, and then you have the Samaritan. Light attributes refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. And then the shadow attributes, exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. So I feel like this is when when talking about the light attribute, refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. So I feel like that's kind of tying into maybe why the relationship in your past didn't work out, is because you were kind of too focused on your ambitions, and you kind of put yourself first for a while, which I'm not saying is always a bad thing, but it's good to step outside of yourself, and take other people's opinions and feelings mostly into consideration. And then just expanding on the shadow attribute. So when you are doing that, it is a give and take, but you can't go about it like, okay, well, it's not a transaction. It's a relationship. There is give and take, but it's not up to you to say, okay, well, I did this, this, and this for you, so what are you gonna do for me now? Like, it's just you work together in a relationship. It's not just like, okay, you do this, I do this, and then we meet in the middle. Like, you should always give your 100% and whatever you can give into a relationship, and expect 100% as well, but without putting too much emphasis on like tallying up who does what. It's a group effort. And then the storyteller, the light attribute, the ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. And the shadow attributes, making up tales that harm others. So I want to get into the shadow attributes, making up tales that harm others. I feel like maybe you used to talk about your old relationships and kind of cast people in a negative light and didn't really like take ownership for what you had to do in the relationship, and like what the downfalls that you had, that like that didn't help the relationship progress into something bigger. It's actually what made it fall apart. So just really taking ownership for your side of things. Like, I feel like you have a capacity to be a very attractive partner for someone, but just keep in mind, sorry, my throat's drying out. Keep in mind the part that you played, and don't forget the lessons that had to come out of your last relationship. And like, maybe you broke up with that person because they just couldn't deal with you being a certain way, or you needing this and that, and so take that out of their relationship. Take what the other person said and really like meditate on that, and maybe like do some reflecting work on like maybe all of what they said isn't just like a made up story, and like they're just, you know, speaking out of turn. Maybe they actually had something like valuable to add, and a lesson to be learned from that situation, rather than it just be all for nothing. So that's what I'm kind of getting for you, pile number 3. I really hope that this helped. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you can be notified every time I make new videos. So if you chose pile number 4, this reading is for you. So first you have the 8 of Wands, then you have the 9 of Pentacles, 7 of Cups, the 6th house, 8th house. Emotions are running high. Look at the bigger picture. Don't let pride get in your way. Self-love. Pride. Spiritual career. Fool. The Vampire. The Rebel. Okay, so what I'm getting from this pile is the 8 of Wands can talk about like having a lot of like different options, and sometimes it can be like acting in haste and kind of like impulsive. And the 9 of Pentacles like is the Pentacles are all like, it's about like the material side, so anything like tangible. So maybe focusing on material gains, or you know, money, or this is for me, honestly, I don't mean this in like I don't mean this in like a disrespectful way, and like I'm sure that you are someone with a lot to offer, but I feel like she's looking at all of these things, and I feel like maybe there's a sense feeling like you have so much to offer. Like maybe you're a really like beautiful person, you're really attractive, and you do have a lot of people that are interested in you, and but you don't always see like the value in others, and you don't always see like maybe if they're not as like good looking as you, maybe you overlook the attributes that they have to offer, and you're kind of not seeing like the full picture here. And so this is you needing to take a step back and just, you also have like don't let your pride get in the way, and you also have pride here. So pride might actually be a downfall for you. Maybe you come off as like being kind of boastful, and maybe you don't mean like, you don't try to be that way, but maybe people initially are really attracted to you, but like just know what you have to offer without having to like show everyone all the time. Like just let people get to know you naturally, because you're already such a beautiful person. You can intimidate a lot of people, and so like having a lot to like being really beautiful, and then also having like a lot to offer. Like say you're really smart as well, you have a good job, you have your life kind of in order for the most part. That can be really intimidating for people, and that can kind of like turn people off, because they think, okay, well, you obviously don't need a relationship because you're already too full of your relationship with yourself. And like I don't think like maybe you do have an issue with like really like having that self-love too, because a lot of the time like people kind of overcompensate, and they like to express, oh, I'm so good at this, or I'm so good at that, but maybe deep down you have like an insecurity about whatever it is, and you're feeling insecure, and that's why you're kind of like putting all your like best attributes out there and being like, I'm so great, I'm so this and that, but really like you feel insecure inside. And rather than like coming at it from like more of an emotional standpoint, you like to overcompensate for your insecurities. So maybe because you have all of the everything else figured out, maybe people kind of figure like you don't really want a relationship, or that's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting here. So you have the 6th house, which has to do with work, details, health, well-being, diet, service, daily rituals, contribution, organization, purification, skills, apprenticeship, method. So maybe you have a really good job and you take good care of yourself for the most part, but you're needing to maybe take a step back and just kind of let people get to know you, and don't just tell people who you think you are and what you can bring to the table. Just like be a little bit like have a little bit more humility when it comes to stuff like that, because like you're clearly a very beautiful person, you're very radiant, and maybe you're very outgoing too, and for the more like timid side, like you might think that you also want like someone that's really like outgoing and really social, or just like very direct, but you might be like overlooking the more introspective people. And because a lot of the time, like um, when we first like think about the relationship that we want, it's we want like, okay, I want someone like me that does like likes the same things as I do and this and that. But really, like, do those relationships often last too long? Like, they end up getting tired and boring, and you end up moving on to the next. So maybe like take a step back and maybe try giving someone that does have a very different way of looking at things, and like is maybe a little bit more reserved, because they say also that opposites attract. So like a lot of the time, it's nice to be in a relationship where you can learn from that person and like balance out yourself, because like you're constantly evolving and growing as a person. Like the person that you are now probably wasn't the same person you were 10 years ago, and you're not going to be the same in 10 years from now, because we are supposed to like grow and evolve and kind of work out our flaws too. So you also have the 8th house. So this says investment, intensity, contracts, sex, erotic capital, secrets, mysteries, obsessions, inheritance, kundalini energy, stalking the underworld. So yeah, I like, for some reason, like contracts are kind of sticking out to me. So maybe you kind of hold your abilities above people's heads sometimes, and you're like, okay, well, I have this, and this that I'm bringing to the relationship. Like, what are you gonna bring? And rather than like actually giving them a chance to respond, you just kind of like already decide that they're not good enough to be with you, or they're not the person that you had in mind when it comes to who you want to end up with, because that can change when it comes to some inner reflection. So yeah, again, it says look at the bigger picture. So what do you want in the long run? Like, it's okay to date different people and figure it out what it is that you really want in the long run. But like, what's gonna be the what's gonna be give the relationship longevity, and what's going to help you grow as a person, to evolve you, and to be the person that you want to end up being. So you also have spiritual career. So maybe one of the attributes that you have is the fact that you are really spiritual, and maybe you hold that over other people's heads, and you say, okay, well, I can't be in a relationship with you because you're not on the same like spiritual level as me. And that's kind of like, again, you're supposed to grow and learn from one another, and not going through life like thinking that you know it all, and you've already come into the final resolution of who you're going to be as a person for the rest of your life. Like, that's not the case, because if you feel like you're done growing spiritually and you're so advanced, you're really probably at the beginning stages, because they say the more you learn about spirituality, the more you understand how little you do know. So with that being said, you also have the Fool. light attributes is fearlessly reveling emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. The shadow attributes, using humor to wound rather than liberate, denial of your emotional truth. So maybe instead of like being vulnerable and like being, maybe you play up your insecurities as jokes, and you're not really being honest with um, what your downfalls are. You just kind of like joke with it, and you kind of put on this front like um, you're this, you have it all together, you have all your ducks in a row, but really like you're emotionally hurting. Because you see in the picture there, like there's that happy mask that that person wears, and behind the mask they're crying. So maybe you do need to still like take a step back and really reflect on what it is that you need to work on, like the hurts that you're not dealing with, and yeah, and maybe you do need to take like a deeper look of like maybe you don't have it all together. Maybe you do need to take some time to really be with yourself and like show that inner child some self-love, because that little child is kind of crying out. And then you have the vampire. The light attribute makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. The shadow attributes depleting others for your physical or psychic survival, chronic contemplating, and codependency. So maybe you're looking for someone to kind of like give you that ego boost, give you that security that you're not feeling secure in. Like you like to put on this front, like you have all these things together, and you're so confident, and you have such a good spiritual connection, and when really like you're using people to kind of pump up your own self-image and your self-worth. So maybe like all of this material, like all of those attributes, it's great to have great things in your life, but you also have to be like full on the inside as well, and like what you can offer emotionally to the experience and the relationship. Are you emotionally ready to be in a relationship that can stand the test of time? Then you have the rebel. The light attributes is challenges authority to affect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. The shadow attributes is rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. So I kind of feel like maybe that kind of ties into the fool, and like kind of making a joke out of things, and not really like focusing on like maybe someone has told you that you're insecure, and you downplay it, and you make fun of that person, and you don't actually take what they have said and actually apply it to your life. So maybe you have been working on yourself, but you're not taking that advice and actually integrating. It's okay to know all of the things that you have to do, but it doesn't mean anything when you're not actually doing the things that you have to do. So yeah, I definitely feel like once you're able to kind of work on inner hurt, then you will find something that is very fulfilling, because like you do have so much to offer and you are a very attractive person. So it's easy for you to attract people, but to actually start that relationship, like let them get to know you. Don't let your pride get in your way, and don't try and overcompensate for those insecurities, and just really work on that, do that inner work, like work on that, like self-love for that inner part of you, that maybe you don't feel like good enough or whatever. So like in the past you've been overcompensating for that. So that is what I'm getting for you, pile number 4. I really hope that this helps and it gives you more insight into why you are single right now. And maybe like once you're done working on these things, like you're just going to attract the most amazing person that does have a lot to offer you as well. So thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I make